Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning into the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Nick Eden, and welcome to episode 23 of Morning Cup of Merch. And I am without my coffee today. So I don't really, it's really becoming a source of contention. So guys, we got a few things to cover today. First thing I want to do is I want to apologize to everybody. I had an announcement from Monday. Monday and yesterday, I had a lot that I had to handle, so I wasn't able to do shows on either one of those days. But kind of got it back to normal. I'll be doing 2 shows on tomorrow because on Friday I'm traveling with my family. So it's just, it's one of those weeks getting to the end of the school year, so a lot of stuff with my daughter and everything. But first, let me get to the announcement. So, as you guys know, my original plan was to bring the 4554 podcast back and keep that as a weekly podcast. We did start that up, had a new podcast partner, whole nine. In the midst of it, started doing Morning Cup of Merch, which just kind of took on a life of its own. And to be honest, I covered a lot of the same type of content on Morning Cup of Merch that I do on the 4554 podcast. So I found myself in a position where realistically I was supposed to stop doing Morning Cup of Merch once the podcast got started up again. Then I was going to bring back all the old shows like Merch in a Minute and all these different things. But as Merch in a Minute and 4554 served a similar purpose, before, now Morning Cup of Merch really does fill that purpose. I said from the very beginning, the only thing that I've ever wanted to do, this is not about me going out and making a ton of money on sponsors or anything like that. My whole thing was, I've gotten so much value from people like Glenn and Young, RJ and Matt, Chris Green, Ken Reel, Joe Clay, Margaret Collier, just so many people I could name time and time again. I said, okay, the least I can do is give back and actually give some value to people who, maybe you're not at the 10,000 tier. Maybe you are at a lower tier and you're seeing these screenshots and you're like, oh my God, how are they doing, 100 plus shirts a week? And I'm just trying to get one sale, and I know that feeling. And because I know that feeling, I wanted to give back and give value to people who were at that point. So all that to say, long-winded version to say, effective immediately, the 4554 podcast is merging with Morning Cup of Merch. So there will no longer be a 4554 podcast. Going forward, the content that comes out on the podcast and the content that comes out on the YouTube channel will be Morning Cup of Merch. In addition to every now and then when there's a special announcement, something like that, that's when I'll have Merch in a Minute. It won't be, before I was doing it 3 times a week or anything like that, because the reality of it is, I think at a certain point, and everyone, in an effect to keep that consistent schedule of content, at a certain point you may realize, look, I'm not giving any value anymore. I'm just filling a time slot or a day slot of what I said I was going to do. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to give you guys just empty crap. It's just, and that's not saying that anybody else is. I'm just saying, in order to avoid even being tempted to get to that point, it's just, at this point, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm doing Morning Cup of Merch 5 days a week. Then what do I bring back? Merch in a Minute, that's 3 days a week. And then 4554 podcast, that's once a week. Then 45 live. It just, I would much rather put together value that is daily, that every day when you get the notification to log onto my channel, that you're going to get some actual value. That is what I want to do. And, this is the way I feel, the best way I feel that it can happen. So, like I said, effective immediately, Morning Cup of Merch is the primary content that will be coming from Nick Eden. There will be no more 4554 podcast, which really sucks a little bit because I just redid the 4554 logo and I'm really liking that logo. But that's okay. I'm going to be doing some retooling to the visual aspects of Morning Cup of Merch. And I think that by putting everything there, and what I give to you guys each morning, I think that, that can just pack it with more value. I think that's probably the best route to go. So that's the announcement. Morning Cup of Merch is the primary focus of content going forward. You're going to see some changes over the next few weeks to the show, to give it a little bit more polished look. I mean, you guys saw, mostly all of last week I was doing the content from my office, back to the car. But even that may change, it'll, because I go different places to get inspiration to do designs. And so I want to take you guys on that journey with me. So now that we've got that out of the way, and plus, let me also say this. There are so many great content producers. I'm already doing a daily show. Let me not dilute it anymore, because there are so many great content producers. And I've explained to you guys the channels that I subscribe to, all the people that I follow. So it's just, I think it's better this way. And we go with that. So, moving on. So this month, you guys know that I talked about it last month, that I had suspended my AMS ads for, are we really still calling it AMS? Like, I know technically it's Amazon advertising, but I think everybody's just used to calling it AMS. But I suspended those last month, really like a month and a half ago, maybe even 2 months ago. Just so I can zero in and just, yes, my sales took a dip. I'm still at the, I told you guys, I'm a 30 to 40 a week. So right now I'm at, I think 35 or 36 for the last 7 days, which is, compared to some people, it's not a lot. Compared to, some people, it's a ton. So, hey, but I always try to be transparent with you guys. No, I'm not selling hundreds of shirts a week, but I will say this much: when I do crank back the advertising starting this week, I expect it to be a significant jump. That being said, I'm gonna start doing some more over the shoulder content as well, where you guys just kind of see my research process. And it may not be a value to some people who are selling 10 times what I'm selling per week. It may be, but I do think that the more we pull back the curtain, and when I say we, I'm speaking in content creators, because the reality is, if you decide to create content for anything, but particularly for print on demand right now, then essentially you're not necessarily responsible for how the process should go. But if you're going to take the time to create that content, then I just don't believe in empty videos and empty shows. That's why I really appreciate people like Ryan Raymond. I appreciate RJ, because it does give you that over the shoulder look. And a lot of times people just want to know that, I'm doing this the right way. I still think people have a problem with understanding exactly what niching down is. And so I'm going to start showing that process a little bit more. Not much, because again, you got people like RJ and Ryan and Amy Nicholas and Brianna, and they're showing that over the shoulder. But I think that if you can take 5 different creators and you see 5 different processes, if you're struggling with a process, then you can find within those 5 a way to either streamline your process or adopt a new one. And so that's what I would say in terms of that. Guys, we are going into the summer months. Father's Day is coming up. Some people expect a drop. I will say my plan right now is I am laser focused on evergreens. I don't even have any Father's Day designs up. Maybe the ones that sold from last year, but I'm really staying away from that one. I'm trying to build the craziest evergreen, catalog you can think of, and it's difficult because, as I've told you guys before, I have my account, but then I also manage my wife's account. So, just kind of splitting time between the 2 accounts, it gets a little difficult at times. But yeah, that's just kind of where we are with everything. Again, tomorrow I'll be doing 2 videos. And I'll probably just drop the other one on Friday morning, while we're out. I just know it's going to be a little hectic, getting out on the road tomorrow. So, on Friday. But that's pretty much all I have for today, guys. I will say this much going forward. I'm still kind of on my social media, my Facebook hiatus. I've peeked into the groups, once or twice, saw something I just couldn't deny speaking on. I'll say this, guys. Focus in. It's great to be competitive. It's great to, see other success and want that for yourself. Not in a jealous way, but in an aspirational way. But you got to focus on your merch journey. I've seen so many people this week that have been disenfranchised with what they don't have versus what they're not selling. And then you see someone who is trying to, give you an aspirational post like, hey, there are people out there that are saying that merch is dead, but look, this is what I did. It's possible. Zero in on your merch journey. Your merch journey is yours and yours alone. And that's any platform, that's print on demand overall. Focus on your merch journey. Like I said, that's all I had for today, guys. Take care. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Click the bell for more notifications, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.